Wendell says, how do you guys program squatting in weightlifting context? I mean, how do you calculate volume, etc., when snatches are basically light squats, cleans are light squats, everything are light squats?
Do you have?
I have a bit of a rule, and then if you want to weigh in after that.
Okay, I'm interested to hear your rule.
So usually you manipulate exercise covering 4 things. So it's called the FIT principle. That's frequency, intensity, time, and type. And if you look at squats and how you might program those across those, usually a frequency of twice a week is enough for squatting. And this is obviously squatting for the sake of squatting and getting a heavier squat. And back squat is usually the modality, so that would take care of the type. Intensity then for squats in weightlifting, you're obviously going to go from a range of very low intensity with quite high volume to higher intensities with lower volume. And it is something that you'll change over the course of a program, over the course of a cycle, and you'll have to change that those intensity and volume numbers as you go through.
So in relation to, calling snatches light cleans, squats, or like cleans as squats basically, and snatches as squats and all leg volume, you basically just disregard those volume on your legs because they are heavily sub-maximal weights in relation to your squats. And if they are negatively affecting your leg strength, if they are putting so much pressure on your legs, if they're thoroughly fatiguing your legs enough to the snatches and the cleans, that's causing an issue, then it means that your squat is an issue, so it's not really going to help you to do less snatch and clean and jerk essentially. So in relation to how do you program squatting in relation to weightlifting, you just always assume that you're heading in a direction for your squat. Now, sometimes you might be heading in a direction where you need an OPB, or sometimes you might be heading in a direction where you need your squat to be just heavy enough or in that correct band. So for example, let's say we have a weightlifter who has a competition coming soon, and we would like to, or we would need to clean and jerk something like 150 kilos. The bare minimum we'd like to see for this weightlifter would be 190 kilo back squat, for example. So that would probably put us at somewhere like 170 kilo front squat. So then we go, okay, what is our max currently? And let's say our max currently is 190 kilos. And this lifter's technique in the clean and jerk is very, very good. He is injury free. So we would go, what age is this lifter? How long has he been lifting? If he's been lifting for, let's say, less than 5 years, and we'd say, okay, so he has a lot of adaptation. He's a lot of room to go. We'll go, let's try and hit a 200 kilo squat alongside or very close to the time when we'll hit this 150 kilo clean and jerk. We might say this lifter's max at the moment is 190, but he's done 210 in the past. And we'd look at that and we'd say, okay, we don't really need to get him back to 210, but we'll get him to that 190 for a rep or two, and we'd kind of peak it towards that, So we just base it on the context. Programming, you just can basically disregard the level of snatches and clean and jerks you're doing in terms of the effect on your leg strength. You'd never really go, okay, I'm not going to do 10s in the back squat or heavy sets or 5x5 in the front squat, for example, because I'm doing a lot of snatch and clean and jerk. You should be in a position where that affects you. You would, however, do that in the opposite direction. So if you know that you have a peak week, you're going for heavy snatch, clean and jerk, you'd never go, okay, let's start 10s that week. You're never going to go, Monday I'm going to do my 3x10 because I always back squat on Mondays. And then on Tuesday I'm going to back my snatch, clean and jerk. You'd never do that. So it's always a one-way street, really. There's never any reciprocal feedback from the snatch and clean and jerk volume or its effect on your leg strength. It shouldn't be. And if you do, and one of ours coaching you, we'll just make fun of you and totally disregard that because that's unacceptable. Whereas vice versa, you'd always be incredibly conscious of what the lifts are doing, and you'd rarely start, a high volume part of your squatting again when your snatch and clean jerks are going somewhere. So, for example, if someone has, let's say we're going to like kind of 2 blocks of weightlifting and we peak up in one for a snatch, clean, jerk, we get to like 95% and we drop back down again, we build up again. But let's say our squat kind of peaks around week 2 of the second block. So we've gone waved up in our snatch, clean, and jerk, and then we're waving back up again. And at this point, our back squat has kind of reached its peak, whether it be through just natural progression or it just couldn't get any heavier. Let's say this week 2 we would kind of simmer that back squat then until the snatch, clean, jerk had frequently or continued its peak in the end, because we'd never really want to be at week 2 with 3 more weeks of weightlifting to go. We'd never go, okay, let's get those 10s in again. Like, that would fuck up everything from terms of fatigue. You know, it's a different mindset, different kind of muscle fibers, different energy systems. There's a variety of different reasons you'd never do that. So you're always just conscious of what the snatch and clean jerk is doing them, and you give them way. They always have right away. And, you know, the lollipop lady is always stopping the squats, but obviously you never stop cars for kids, you know, and your weightlifting is your kids. They are not.
You never stop kids for cars.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I think the lollipop lady stops both.
Yeah, but she doesn't. She's always reluctant.
I know.
She's reluctant to stop the kids.
She wants to walk out in the middle of the road.
She wants those kids to go, you know.
Yeah.
She wants them to go, you know. He wants them to walk. But
Varden actually
yeah
said, I gave advice on going into sports management instead of sports